Healing and social justice and liberation are like North Stars. These are phenomena that we are orienting towards. We're moving in their direction. This is a constant phenomenon.
I don't think you could ever be completely healed. You could be in a wounded healing journey. A wounded healing journey.
There aren't a lot of artificial intelligence companies right now who are focused on these North Stars.
This idea of leveraging the most disruptive technological force for the purpose, for that deep, profound healing.
At MindHeart AI, we are very much dedicated to developing artificial intelligence to create a map that you can interact with. And you can begin to ask it questions that relate to how you develop loving awareness.
Welcome to part two, to our beautiful conversation with Dr. Sará King. And as you may have explored, our part one really gave you some context into her personal and professional journey, becoming renowned and amazing neuroscientist and so much more. So I invite you to check that out. And then in this section, I want to get right into how you're becoming a business leader and you're developing technology.
Yeah.
Inspired and based on the systems-based awareness map and the science of social justice. So I want to tell me a little bit about MindHeart Collective, and tell me a little bit about how you've been inspired to create artificial intelligence.
Yes, absolutely. With pleasure. So yeah, in our previous segment, I went into some detail about the systems-based awareness map, which is the theoretical map of human awareness that I developed in my postdoc in neurology at Oregon Health Science University. Now, when I developed this scientific diagram, it was on a piece of paper, so it was two-dimensional, and thus it was static. It couldn't move. And I did my best to use arrows in the diagram in order to infer that to the extent that we experience trauma that is arising from the environment, society, or culture, or rather that this trauma that is arising from the collective consciousness then meets with our bodies as an individual, and it affects us. It affects our health, right? Going back to this idea of well-being as a biopsychosocial phenomenon. Anything occurring in the environment, society, or culture that comes to our awareness, it affects the physiological state of the body, the psychological state of the mind, right, our mental health, and our relationships. But this is a bidirectional phenomenon in that when we receive of healing from those same places, right, then we have the chance to come into a relationship with the experience of healing in our bodies. Also, when we are holding and carrying intergenerational trauma inside of our bodies as is passed down through the experiences of our ancestors, right? Going back to epigenetics, as I mentioned prior. Any of the practices of healing, and I actually want to take a pause and say, when I use this word healing, I am absolutely not using it to say that I know, right, exhaustively, definitively what healing is. I'm not pretending that. I like to say that healing and social justice and liberation are like North Stars. So we have a glimpse of what these might be, right? They're shining in our general direction. But if it was a destination and we were already there, then you and I wouldn't be having this conversation, right? It's more like these are phenomena that we are orienting towards. We're moving in their direction, and this is a constant phenomenon. It's never ending, right? This movement, but, and I'm actually curious what you think about this increasingly I've been thinking about healing as a very deep experience of connection, profound states of recognition of our interconnectedness and our interdependence that allow us in the moment access to the remembrance of our wholeness and our aliveness. And I'm exploring this because well-being is a little bit of a paradox, right? As humans, we're going to experience pain.
Suffering.
We're going to experience suffering. And some of that pain and suffering is going to come into our experience precisely because of the bodies that we are in, right? Because of these structures of systemic oppression that we are living in. And this is for all bodies, regardless. So does that mean, right, if we're going to experience pain and suffering, that well-being is then an impossibility?
You know, the idea of well-being and liberation as North Stars is important. I don't think you could ever be completely healed. You know, you could be in a wounded healing journey. A wounded healing journey, meaning that you're constantly in an attempt to heal from the wounds, intergenerational, interpersonal, institutional, and doing the work, you know, whether it's therapy, whether it's all kinds of practices, and then at the same time being subject to the incessant suffering.
Yes.
But I like what you're saying, this moment of healing, of connection, and feeling profoundly alive. In a way, across these two conversations that you and I have had, exploring your corpus, your work, it's been healing to me because I can sit with just the power of a little girl's dream being realized, and that I can call you a friend. And I feel deeply connected in this moment, and that we can invite community to just hold the brilliance that you've been able to generate. So just wanted to kind of take that definition of healing that you just laid out as a North Star, but placing it embodied in between us.
I appreciate that.
And I'm fascinated with your definition of healing and how you're trying to build artificial intelligence to help and support with the healing of trauma.
Yes, absolutely. That is the North Star. So my, I have a few different companies. There's MindHeart Consulting, right, where I offer consulting work on the basis of these models that I've been discussing. MindHeart Collective, which you mentioned, is really referring to the community of healers and practitioners and educators and family members and leaders who have really been informing and walking by my side in this work, right? And I have a deep, deep desire that, you know, the community of collective wisdom keepers that have been walking by my side, such as yourself, be elevated, right, and known and recognized for their contributions. Because when I talk about the science of social justice or the systems-based awareness map, it ain't like these, the knowledge and the information, right, that resource to these frameworks belongs to me. I've stood on the shoulders, we have stood on the shoulders of countless, right, in the seen and the unseen, in order that we can be stewards. We're stewards of this work, right? And so MindHeart AI is the name of my AI startup. Every time I say it, I just think it just has the most wonderful ring to it. And the reason why I call it MindHeart is for a couple of reasons, right? There is a a model of what it is called neurovisceral integration in neuroscience. And the model of neurovisceral integration refers to this connection that there is within the human physiology. Maybe many of you have heard of the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is one of the 12 cranial nerves, right? But it is the one that is directly connecting the brain with the heart. So in yoga, for instance, when you're engaging in ujjayi breath or like ocean breathing and you're like doing that slight constriction of the throat, there is a physiological reason why you're doing that. You're creating a vibration in the vagus nerve, which connects directly to the brain stem. And we don't know, right? But there are many neuroscientists who theorize that the brainstem could possibly be the seat of human consciousness itself, right? So why this is important is to say that we are literally designed, right, from a human evolutionary point of view, to have this capacity to bring our awareness to emotion as it is arising in the heart. And when you bring your awareness to emotion in its arising, what you're doing is you're taking, a lot of the times, our emotions come to us in a very unconscious way. So when you bring awareness to your emotions, you're bringing that unconscious to consciousness, right? You're regulating the experience of emotions. You're creating this conscious relationship between the heart and the brain, right? And it is built into us to have this capacity to really know ourselves, to center ourselves, and to drop into a state of connectedness, connection. That connection that you were describing, it's a physiological phenomenon. So and it's a phenomenon that's related to healing. At MindHeart AI, we are very much dedicated to developing this map of human awareness, but using artificial intelligence to create a map that you can interact with, that you can communicate with, right? Because remember, the initial map was two-dimensional, so it was static, and we had our collaboration with the Museum of Modern Art in New York, right? And in that collaboration, we used visual art, and Orlando developed the sonic healing landscape, and we used neuroscience storytelling. You can actually find it if you Google art and awareness as collective healing. It lives on the Museum of Modern Art's website, right? But there was a sense of dissatisfaction that I came away from that, and you held the space of that event. I was like, you can't interact with this map. So we're really exploring right now how it is that using large language models, with a large language model is, it's a corpus of data. You can almost think about it as like a cloud of language, if you will, metaphorically speaking. And this cloud of language is porous, and it responds to how you train it. So if you train a large language model to be oriented towards, most large language models out there today are being trained in AI to make us more productive. So we can produce, we can analyze, we can understand, we can perceive large corpuses of data. We can aggregate that data, we can disaggregate it, we can really, it's amazing the kinds of interactions that you can have now with large language models, right? That can really hone our ability to take large amounts of linguistic data and interact with it in a very relational way. You can ask questions of it and it will respond, right? But given what is happening on the planet right now, given the state of environmental degradation and potential collapse, and the ways in which this environmental degradation, right? We are feeling right now the negative impacts of climate change all around the world. And it's not a coincidence that communities in the global south, communities of Black and brown people especially, are and will continue to experience the negative repercussions of climate change more so than those in the quote unquote developed world. So this is actually an issue of justice. When we see the pervasiveness of war, genocide, violence in our communities, what this brings me to is it doesn't make any sense to me to point the finger outward at this phenomena and say, how are we going to fix this out there? Well, sure, we do need the systems, we do need the institutions externally who are going to support us in the effort of coming to our senses, recognizing interdependence, and uplifting one another, right? And absolutely. But on a seed level, where all of this violence begins, on a psychological level, right? And on an embodied level, it starts here. It starts inside of us with, I propose, unhealed, unintegrated trauma. Trauma which has not had awareness brought to it. And we all know you can't begin the journey of healing anything if you're not aware. Awareness is the first step. So our thought at MindHeart AI is to develop this interactive map of human awareness that you can type to or you can speak to, and it will mirror back to you the ways in which your awareness of self, as it relates to your relationship with the world, transforms over time. That's the first intention. The second intention is not just for awareness, because you can bring there's this phenomena, right, where people will say, so-and-so has been meditating for their entire life, and they're still, I was going to use a different word, but they're still not a kind person. You know what I mean? What's up with that? Awareness is the first step. But our intention is that using machine learning as you communicate with this map of human awareness over time, you will have a choice. And you will be able to opt into a relationship with the map where it is learning deeply about who you are. It is an incredibly personalized journey. And you can begin to ask it questions that relate to how you develop loving awareness. How do I love myself? How do I love others around me? And what does that have to do with my well-being, right? So this is meant to be a well-being guide and a friend in the journey, all of our journey of healing intergenerational trauma. That is the intention that we hold at MindHeart AI. And I really think that there aren't a lot of artificial intelligence companies right now who are focused on these North Stars, like well-being, like love, like liberation. And it seems to me to be of the essence, particularly given what we're experiencing in the collective right now.
Major. Just giving us an opportunity to sit with that. This idea of leveraging the most disruptive technological force in the history of our species for the purpose of not just augmenting and making us more productive, but for that deep, profound healing that can possibly happen by activating and fostering and nurturing loving awareness. I'm just thinking about you in conversation with these Sam Altmans of the world, you know. I'm just thinking about MindHeart AI in competition with, or in friendly collaboration with ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Lambda, Microsoft Copilot. So I'm just kind of speaking it into existence that MindHeart AI will be a force to be reckoned with, and that it represents AI built from the margins,
Yes.
built from the margins. So just really excited about the work that's going to come out of that, sis. And
Thank you.
yeah, any last thoughts around what you need? What do you need? What do you need to make your visions possible? Because I hear a parallel entrepreneur in you, but what do you need? Like, if you could just like ask for what you need, what would you ask for?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I just want to express my profound gratitude, not only at the compassionate and loving way that you are holding space for this conversation, but, as a Black person, as a scientist, as an entrepreneur, that is not a question that I get asked enough. And this is not just for me. There are so many brilliant thinkers and embodied practitioners, healing practitioners at the margins who are not being asked this question enough. So thank you. That's a multifaceted answer.
Of course.
At MindHeart AI, we're a team of contemplative practitioners, and each of us is really contributing to this work from a place of love and passion. Thus far, the funding for this work has come from my family. Me, my husband, my daughter, that's where it's come from. Full stop. So it has been a sacrifice. And I know that these kinds of sacrifices are very common, especially more common in the entrepreneurial journey of folks who come from backgrounds like myself. I need for people to recognize that this very personal story that I have shared in the context of our conversation is precisely what makes folks like you and I, what makes MindHeart AI really special. Because I did not develop MindHeart AI, having emerged into this earth with a silver spoon in my mouth, perched atop of an ivory tower, riding on the back of a white horse. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, I have come from the communities that are being most affected right now. And therefore it is my lived experience and also my perspective that this is a calling. This isn't just a job. I have a spiritual orientation and I have a sacred orientation around this work that is being done. And real sacrifice has gone into the creation of this work. So my request is that for those of you who also feel as though global planetary healing, well-being, and the development of loving awareness is precisely what we all need right now, and you have a calling. It's a part of your mission. It is why you exist. Then reach out to me and support this work. We are looking for seed funding. And when I say that we are looking for seed funding, we are looking for collaborators. We are looking for those who are walking with us on this path. We are not interested in collaborating with anyone who sees the potential of this work. Really, we're talking about artificial intelligence as a force to heal, right? To move in the direction of healing humanity. We're not looking for anybody who wants to capitalize, extract, and make a quick buck. We're looking for relationship with integrity and with values.
That's a clear ask. That's a clear ask. And as someone who has a sense for how you're investing in this and building code already.
Yes, we are.
Building code, building, the foundations of a pretty robust algorithms. and then also being invited to Google next, being invited all over the world. So from my vantage point, it's just a matter of time. But I do want to say that, you know, for those of you out there who are interested in embodying your values in projects and initiatives that will expand and amplify those values, this is one worthy of supporting. And it is with like my, you know, profound gratitude that on behalf of the Acosta Institute and also the Garrison Institute, that's been a really strong partner for us.
Absolutely.
Just thank you so much, sis. And I'm just grateful that along the way you never gave up.
Mm,
You
mm.
never gave up. So deep gratitude. Yeah. So stay tuned. This is just one, two, three. Many conversations will come from Dr. King and I, and looking forward to contributing to other conversations with other scholars. You all take good care.